Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, I made a video about a visitor of ours, Chris Woolcock, who is a pretty well-known, very successful maker of classic rocking horses. These are things that I remember from my younger days in the UK. I used to pass in a very wealthy neighbourhood actually near Regent's Park in the UK in London, and I always used to see in this very elegant house, very expensive, rich people must have lived there, but in this huge bay window there was always this Victorian rocking horse. These are classic pieces of art from a few years ago, the Victorian age to begin with. And what Christopher Woolcock has done is he's turned this into a great career for himself, and even up to, let me see, up to like 2002, I think that this article was written about Chris. He had made 5,000 of these horses. He's made so many of these horses, by the way, now that they are actually coming back to him for restoration. That gives you an idea. Now, this is Chris. You might remember him from when he came to visit. Now, we were so busy with stuff that involved travel. There's the rocking horses that he makes. Absolutely beautiful pieces of art, and I mistakenly didn't explain myself enough, because when I was talking about how it works when you are going bankrupt, what you need to do, and Christopher thought that I'd mentioned his name in the same breath, and so I was giving him as an example. Far from it. He is very successful at what he does, and I'll show you a few other things about Chris. Now, the reason, why am I doing this again if I made it the first time? Well, apparently the sound didn't come on, so here I am doing it again, because I really want to pay tribute to Chris, because he does such incredible work. Now, not only does he do these incredible work, but he's developed speed-saving, time-saving tools with which he uses angle grinders, which have special cutters on them, and they cut down the amount of time that he spends in getting the waste off the blocks once he has put them together. So there's a picture of, that's a picture of two horses there that Chris has roughed out. That's what I would call first fix, but that's roughing out. The basic shape is there and pretty well on, but as the article states, it states that people order these horses and they're pretty well on special order, even though he does have a stockpile. But sometimes these orders come in with special little things that they want built into the order, and so he customizes each one. And anyway, no rocking horse is the same as the next, so it does mean that these he'll build up part finished horses like this. Next to that is a picture of an American carousel horse, which requires quite a different technique and can be quite more highly detailed. If you've been on a real big carousel horse, if you've been to any of the Disney complexes, parks, you will have been on something like this, and they are carved. A lot of these now, that it's a dying art to actually carve them, but what they do now is that they sculpt them in clay or in foam, and then they do a mold, and then they cast them in fiberglass. Chris makes the real thing, so he's doing that. Now, here, to get an idea of what the finished piece looks like, because you can't see it on the photo with him, here's some that he has stockpiled. stockpiled, plus you can see they're very beautiful pieces. Now, a little while ago, life took on a strange twist for our friend Chris. And what happened was he started to do a charity push in a prison in, I think, in Manila. And he went in and with his own money he designed, remodeled and built a section of the prison. Obviously with permission. You don't go in and do anything in prison without permission. But he got a contract of sort to voluntarily do a training class. So he held training classes for prisoners, for inmates, where they could learn something about turning out with very simple tools. They could actually make fairly simple wooden toys that would be classic in design, and he showed them how to make them, and they would be able to sell those when they gained their freedom. And that was going very well. For some reason his contract ran out and he left. So he forfeited quite a lot of stuff because he'd equipped the workshop that he was working in. And he was very disappointed that it ended as it did, but sometimes that's what happened to these things. He made a point of coming to Bohol to see us and do some other things. He's interested in buying a piece of land with his girlfriend, obviously with his girlfriend who will become his wife. I'm anticipating that was the situation. We didn't actually get to spend much time with Chris, which hopefully we'll be able to change when he comes the next time. Who knows? Maybe he'll even settle close to where we are, and then we'll get to see firsthand the kind of work that he does. Well, he's now back in Australia, and he has, I'm guessing that he has more orders for his horses than he can possibly handle, and he's working on that now, and he will raise money fairly quickly. These horses are not cheap, believe me. They are absolutely beautiful pieces of work, and they were always my favorite. I would just love if he's listening to this now, if you could possibly fold that silver horse there, the Dapple. If you could, this one here, look. If you could possibly fold that one into a flat pack or a manila envelope, fold it very carefully so that it doesn't stop rocking when it gets here. If you could do that, I would love to have one. I know that as soon as you open the envelope they would expand to full size, and forgive me, sometimes I dream. These are absolutely beautiful pieces. I can't go on too much about them. If you had been in England you would see some of these, and there are others that are designed and made in Australia, I believe, and it's a dying art, and yet there are people like Chris Woolcock who are keeping this alive, and we wish him all the best for his future plans. What he wants to do when he gets out here permanently, he wants to set up another training shop so that he can help people to be able to be self-sufficient, which is far ahead of what Beth and I do. We're first responders helping people who need that first step up. Well, Chris is far ahead of that and would be able to teach people, as I say, with the simplest of tools, to be able to be self-sufficient, which is the end result for all of us, isn't it? To be self-sufficient. So thanks for coming to see us, Chris, and we really are sorry that we didn't get to spend more time with you. We saw you a couple of times, and that was all that we could manage. I know that you managed to get round and see some other pieces of property that has perhaps inspired you to think in terms of coming to stay on Bohol. I think that it is a rapidly progressing island. It's a small island. It really hasn't been developed that much, and so with the new airport that's come in now in Panglao, that means 2 major airports are here, plus there is still the possibility, the opportunity to have an isolated, or let me say a kind of living that is not too crowded, still able to see a simple way of life, and that certainly is still available on Bohol. Plus, with the growing way that the infrastructure is coming along, it's going to change, unfortunately, but if you're far out enough in the mountains as we are, then we won't be affected too much. So, thanks for looking in. This was a tribute to Chris Woolcock, who has now made probably at least 6,000 horses, but we've named it the man with 5,000 horses. Thanks for looking in. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Bye for now.